Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host JT, and you're watching Black Box Trading. Yeah, let's get into it. What do we think? Let me know in the chat. We got 14 people already logged in and listening or viewing. We bullish on Bitcoin? Is this the breakout, or is this a fake out, or are we just up against resistance? I got two charts, two little different ways to look at the chart. So why don't we just jump in and take a look at the king of all crypto, and that is Bitcoin. So this is the bearish way. I mean, bearish, it's not that bearish, but this is one way to look at the consolidation, and this is the other way to look at the consolidation. So we'll start off with this one. So this is looking at the local consolidation of this area as it broke down out of this parallel channel above. So we were trading at this level between 90 and 100, and now we have fallen out of that parallel channel and we are trading between, we'll say, 80 and 90. So we're $10,000 lower. And if you look at that consolidation, the consolidation that has formed below the prior consolidation, we haven't broken above yet. We haven't broken out yet. Whereas when you look at it from another angle, taking this kind of bump and run structure here, and we'll cover the bump and run a little bit more later on in the show, but this bump and run, we got a breakout. So which way are we leaning? Are you guys thinking that this is a very slow and quiet and sneaky breakout, or are we just up against resistance and we're looking to get a rejection right back down to the lows? Let me know your thoughts below. Yeah, so my thoughts are I'm leaning more with the bump and run scenario. I'm leaning more with the bump and run, and I'm kind of hoping that we still pull back a little bit because I've got a trade placed here. I've got some leveraged trades orders resting, sitting at around 82. So I do hope that we pull back a little bit, fill those orders, and then take off. Maybe something like this would be my ideal scenario. We've had the breakout, get a pullback to retest the downward sloping line of resistance, and then boom. If you don't want to buy this pullback, another good place to buy would be buying this, but it has to come on volume. Something that is interesting about this whole area right here is it's relatively low volume. And now, granted, we kind of just did come out of the weekend. I guess we're midweek now. We should be seeing volume come in, but we're not seeing a ton of volume in this area. The volume is still quite low. So if you do want to wait for that confirmation breakout, feel free to do so. Just make sure that if you are buying this kind of breakout scenario and you're not buying the pullback, buy it on volume. Without volume, in this case, volume is a whole topic. I don't want to get into the weeds of volume. It's not just as clean and dry, cut and dry as just high volume good, low volume bad. It's not like that. But in this particular scenario, if you are to buy this breakout scenario that I'm talking about right now, you do want to see high volume. And we don't have that. We don't have that right now. Yeah, and the more bearish scenario, now again, the volume is giving us clues here. The volume's giving us clues. If this was actually a resistance point, we would have high volume. We would have a lot of selling activity happening up against this resistance. We are seeing a result. We are seeing price come down, but we haven't seen the volume that would be characteristics of a test of either a supply line or a demand line. So, if you look at it like this is your demand line. This is when the bulls come in, and this is your supply line. You can see here, supply line has high volume, demand line has high volume, supply line has high volume, demand line has high volume. Here, no volume. So it's a little bit of a question mark. In the prior show, I did say that it is kind of revealing that the order books are stacked bullish. I am maintaining that point of view. I do think that the order books are intrinsically stacked bullish, meaning that at a base level, when you strip away all the speculation, the demand is higher than supply. That's how I'm reading the market right now. And that's why I'm bullish on Bitcoin, and I'm leaning more in favor of this being a quiet, sneaky little breakout. We have seen in the past M2. A lot of people are covering M2 now. We were one of the first channels to cover M2, but it seems like every channel is covering M2. I don't even know if we should cover M2 right now, but why not? Everybody else is doing it. Just because you were the first doesn't mean you shouldn't continue to update people on it. So let's pull up M2. Global money supply. Oh, I already had one going here. We'll bring this up and we will pair it to the chart. We can see that M2 is mooning. M2 is mooning. Now, for those who don't know, there is a little bit of a lag with M2. When you look at gold, there's no lag. M2 and gold, I mean, look at how perfect that is. When M2, which is global money supply, when the global money supply is in expansion, aka money printer go burr, when money printer go burr, you can see that gold is lockstep with that. Bitcoin's a little bit different in the sense that there's a lag. There's like a 70 to a 100 day lag on the reaction of the supply of new issuance of money hitting the hitting Bitcoin. But after that delay, after that lag in it realizing price, it often rallies much more aggressively than gold. I mean, gold, it's gold. It's not moving crazy. Like, yeah, massive cool breakout from the beginning that we broke out of this channel. Like, it's done 50%. Cool, like, congratulations to all the gold bugs out there, but that's not a Bitcoin move. When Bitcoin moves, it does like at least 60, 70%, and it's done multiples of those so far this cycle, and we're probably going to get to the point where it's doing multiple 100% moves later on in the cycle. So this is very cool to see. Just look at that up only chart, and it's a lag between 70 to 100 days. Where are we sitting right now? This is the breakout of M2, currently sitting at 80 days. So we're getting really close. Going back over to the monthly chart, this is something that I've said numerous times, and I maintain my bias there. Let's turn off this. Is that I'm looking at April as a trend reversal candle. So it's not going to be a crazy candle. I don't expect April to be a bullish. April's not going to take anybody off guard. I don't think April's going to be like a super exciting month, but April, from a technical point of view, is going to lay the foundation for May to be a very exciting month, basically an all-time high break month on May is what I'm thinking. But in order for that setup to take place, what April needs to do is it needs to close green bigger than the prior candle. So you see the body of this candle right here. Our body needs to be larger than this body of this candle by the end of the month, which I think is very, very plausible. And I think given the nature of the way that Bitcoin is moving, and when we analyze the short-term timeframes, it's very likely to probably even close as a hammer. If it gives us a hammer, my God, May is just going to be a rocket ship. But for those who don't know what I'm talking about, what we're looking for is what's called a bullish engulfing candle. A bullish engulfing candle means that the body is bigger than the prior red body. So, and this is your classic 3-bar reversal. So a 3-bar reversal is you have a big red bar. You'll have a doji, red or green, doesn't matter. Green is more bullish than red, but it doesn't matter. And then the next candle to the doji is a bullish engulfing candle. So if this closes at any price above 84.3, open was 84,259. We'll call it 84.3. So if it closes anything above 84.3, that's going to be a very bullish close for the month of April. With the ideal scenario, us closing as a hammer, the current high of this candle is why can't I see it? The second screen is also right where my light is. 88.5. So all we need to do is clear 84.3, but if we can get 88.5 and close the month at 88.5, ooh man, if we get a hammer candle on this, we're sending quick, and it's going to be a very solid couple of quarters to finish off the year, in my opinion. So yeah, that's where we're at with Bitcoin. We're just waiting on that breakout. But please don't break out before filling. I want to be filled. I mean, I'm 100% long in the spot market, but I wouldn't mind packing on a little bit of leverage here. So just wick down, fill my orders, and then move. This is what I'm looking for. Just give me a little love tap, and then boom, that's what I want. That's the perfect scenario for me. All right, let's catch up with the chat. 30 people watching. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you guys aren't already in the Discord, I don't know what is going on in the Discord. Y'all are really struggling to get in. It's super easy. If you want in, it's super easy. You can't do it with the Discord links. Okay. I mean, you can, but it seems like people get in there and they get lost and they don't know what to do. If you want the easiest way into the Discord for our free Bitcoin and crypto trading group, where we're offering all of our entries, exits, take profits, minting ordinals, early venture capital projects, all of the stuff that makes you a shit ton of money, we're giving away for free. It's in the Discord. Get a Discord account, get into the Discord. If you're a first-time Discord user, yes, it's confusing. There's really not a lot like it. Similar to Slack, but not a lot of people use Slack either. Anyways, the easiest way in is to create a black box account. Once you have your black box account, once you have given us your email and password to get into your dashboard, you open up your dashboard and you go here, join Discord. Now, if you're already in the Discord, leave the Discord and then rejoin with this button only. If you do that, you will be auto verified. For whatever reason, people are struggling to get in. If you want auto verification, that's your way in. So we can't wait to welcome you in. We will see you guys in there where we can hang out and chat. So catching up with the chat. 888 is bullish, wants to take a look at gold. We will take a look at gold. JD is long-term bullish, but no idea on the short term. Yeah, there's a lot to the thing is, I don't know what kind of certainty is going to come into the market. It has to come in the form of a narrative of some kind. And where does this narrative come from? I think the next thing that we're looking at as far as the narrative will come in May at the FOMC meeting. I think there's going to be a cut. We might get a drastic cut. And with that cut, I'm not calling a drastic cut. I'm saying it's a possibility, but we will very likely get a cut, an interest rate cut. And with that will come a narrative of, we need to reprice things higher. But yeah, if you're looking at gold, why is silver not going up? I don't think silver has as much intrinsic value as gold. Both gold and silver have a very big problem. Both gold and silver don't have verifiable supply, which means it's very easy to manipulate the gold market and it's very easy to manipulate the silver market. Why? Because you can rehypothecate both gold and silver. That is one of the most incredible things about Bitcoin is people are still rehypothecating Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong, but you'll never get to double the amount of Bitcoin. It's impossible. You can never get to see that much Bitcoin because the ledger is verified every 10 minutes. We know the exact supply of Bitcoin every 10 minutes. You have no idea how much gold is out there. You have no idea how much silver is out there. And there are so many financial instruments created around gold and silver that the only way that these markets move is in spot bearer asset type environments. And when people are looking to hide their money, real money buys gold. I'm sorry to say, but you know, this is a blanket statement and it might rub people the wrong way, but poor people buy silver. That's not my opinion. That's just facts. Like when you have a lot of money, you're not going to fill a fucking safe full of silver because your safe is going to be busting at the seams and you're not going to have that much money in there. If you're going to want to hold the bearer asset, you're going to hold gold because it's much more space efficient. You can fill a safe filled with gold and you can hold a lot of money in that safe. For that reason, you see gold rallying better than silver because more people are flying to safety, and it's not going in the form of this rehypothecated paper gold. It's going into the physical bearer asset gold where people are wanting to actually take custody of their gold. And we're seeing gold do really, really well, whereas silver, not so much. So I don't know what kind of a catalyst could come towards silver that would bolster its spot demand, its like physical spot demand. But it just doesn't have anywhere near that physical spot demand that gold does. And gold is a serious beneficiary of the global geopolitical turmoil that is happening out there right now. It's all-time high. Another all-time high today. Beautiful. Shout out to the gold bucks. If you've been hodling the gold for this long, I love me some hard money. Gold doesn't work for me because I'm a digital nomad, but I like gold. I think any hard asset is a good asset. I must be poor then. I'm just making a blanket statement, B-Man. I'm making a blanket statement because generally speaking, China's not buying silver. They're not filling their nation state treasury with silver. They're filling it with gold. Russia's doing the same. They're not buying silver. Like when you need to turn a shit ton of money into a hard asset, you're not going to do silver because it's not space effective. Like we're talking like Fort Knox. Imagine we don't know if Fort Knox has the gold, but let's pretend Fort Knox is filled with gold, right? Fort Knox would need to be 20 times larger if it was filled with silver. So it's like a physical element between gold and silver as to why people want the harder asset. And now I don't know about the refining or the issuance of silver. I'm not much of a metal guy at all. Like I said, I travel around the world. I don't have a safe. I'm not going to freaking travel with a bunch of gold, nor can I legally do so. But, the issuance of gold is like 1% to 2% a year. And I say issuance, the amount of gold that is mined around the world globally is about 1% to 2% of the total supply as to what they think the total supply of gold is. It might be easier to mine silver. If it's easier to mine silver, it's less rare. If it's less rare, it's less valuable. If it's less valuable, it has less capital flows in these tumultuous times. Let's see how the S&P is doing. S&P had a red day, which is fine. It's fine. We might have to go down and retest. That might more than fill the order that I'm looking to get into. We might need to see. Let's turn on the line chart here. Yeah, we're still holding above the 7. I think if we can stay above the 7, we very likely will stay above the 7. So we've reclaimed the 7 here. We'll probably retest with a lower high down here, somewhere around 526 here on the spider, and get a bounce off of that. And then a reclaim of this, and then we're off to the races, baby. If we reclaim this line right here, I think a reclaim of this level is going to give us enough energy to just take this out. Like, this isn't going to offer us too much resistance. Maybe a day or two of resistance, maybe a week, but after that, it'll be a breakout. It'll be blue sky, all-time high breakout for the S&P. And we will be laughing. We will be laughing all the way to the bank with our Bitcoin stack. Same story over here on the NASDAQ. Same levels that we need to overcome. We've reclaimed the 7, might retest the 7. We need to reclaim the monthly, basically. If we're looking at this on the daily, we've reclaimed the weekly average price on the NASDAQ. We need to reclaim the monthly average price, which is currently sitting at 19,286 here on the NASDAQ. So those two levels, same here. Reclaim that monthly price. We're above the weekly price. We need to get back above the monthly price. If we can get above the monthly price on both, we're off to the races, and we will probably go for all-time highs. What's MSTR doing? Man, this whole MSTY thing, God. That's, it was a provocative meme that was out there. Let's see if I can find that meme. That stupid meme. You guys know what I'm talking about, the MSTY meme. I should have had this prepped, but I didn't. MSTY. I should find the meme. Where's the meme? Where's the meme? Just show me the meme. If I can't find it, I'll give up, and I will have wasted everybody's time. Anyways, the thing that bothers me is like how forgetful the market is. You can't rehypothecate. You can't get yield from Bitcoin. I'm sorry. It's not a yield. It doesn't have yield. So when you are getting yield from a financial product that is attached to Bitcoin, where do you think this is coming from? This is the meme right here. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, no 401k, no stocks, no BTC. And then, a bunch of angry Bitcoin maxis say you can't buy MSTY, but MSTY gives me income. No, dude, it's a covered call on MicroStrategy. That's all it is. And to say that you're more of a maxi for having MSTY than a maxi, this is the provocative piece. You're not a fucking maxi. If you need money, sell some Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong with distribution of the supply. I'm sorry. Because with a covered call, the income that you're getting is them just giving you some of your money back. That's it. That's it. You want a maxi? Bitcoin only. The yield comes from somewhere. And if you don't know where the yield's coming from, it's probably coming from you. But anyways, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy double bottom. Double bottom bouncing off the 200 on the daily. Double bottom off the 200. Do we have a divergence to go along with that? No. I mean, it says bullish divergence, but I don't know what it's talking about. That's not a bullish divergence. That's a confluence. Be careful with this RSI divergence indicator. It's not always right. It's calling it a bullish divergence here. You have a low and you have a higher low, and we have a low and a higher low. That's not a bullish divergence. That is confluent. So I don't know why it's saying bullish divergence. But anyways, it still looks good. I like the double bottom. I like it bouncing off the 200. So MSTR is going to rally. Why do I think that? Because I think Bitcoin's going to rally. Bitcoin is setting up for its move, and MSTR is a direct recipient of that. Nomen Lantinus. Man, please spell that for me phonetically. Because I see your name so much. And I don't know how to pronounce your handle. Good morning from Bangkok. Good morning from Dubai, sir. Christoph, until gold is only going up, crypto will not rise. The question is, when will the trend change? Well, for crypto, it's very easy to understand when the trend changes, when this chart starts going down. If you're new to the channel, this might be valuable information, but chances are you're not new to the channel. A lot of people have been watching me bang on about Bitcoin dominance for quite literally years. When this chart starts to print ugly red candles like this, we're in altcoin season. So for the rotation into crypto, you don't need to pay attention to gold. You don't need to pay attention to the S&P 500. You don't need to pay attention to anything. All you need to see is Bitcoin dominance. And when Bitcoin dominance is falling, it's falling against other cryptos. And that will show itself as red candles. Now, when this high came in, we had about a day or two of excitement thinking that the rotation was taking place because it was such a big move, and then the alts rallied so hard after that we were thinking maybe we do have a rotation here. But it looks like we're going for kind of it's not a gap fill, it's a wick fill. So we're definitely coming up to 64% dominance, probably going to break beyond that. I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody already made the call at 72. And I think that's a very valid call. 70% is also a great call. $71. This whole area for Bitcoin to rally up to, I think, is very, very valid. So this is where we could rally up to, and that's where we could expect a bit of a reversal here in Bitcoin dominance. So hold on to your altcoins, kids. It ain't going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, not yet, at least. But that Bitcoin is going to continue to hammer the market. Bitcoin is going to be the one to continue to give great gains. Now, if we really start to rip, like I anticipate us to start ripping in May, that will be the catalyst for us to get kind of up into that 70% range for Bitcoin dominance. Hope to see something huge in the next FOMC meeting. I'm not expecting something huge. All we need is just a little bit of confidence. That's it. We don't need something huge. We have a lot of built up pressure. So all it's going to take is just a little bit of a catalyst, a little bit of a sentiment shift, a little bit of comfort coming from the market to start investing again, and we'll start climbing quite quickly. But, you know, we could get something huge from FOMC, and it could be a really huge catalyst, but I don't think that it has to be huge personally. I think that we can get a small catalyst and it will result in a very large result. What's your Bitcoin price prediction for the end of the month and for the end of May? End of the month, I'm thinking between that 85 to 90 is what I'm thinking by the end of the month. So end of the month, we're looking at this range right here. So 85 to kind of 90. Somewhere around here for the end of the month. Not too exciting. I don't expect April to be very exciting. But for May is going to be exciting because I think May is going to be all-time highs. Somewhere around here. Anywhere from 100 to 120 for May. So May is where it really gets exciting for me. Our official bull market bull market bias keeps declining. You know, technically, if you're new to alphanumetrics, this indicator is red, indicating that we should be risk off and we should be bearish on the market. I'm not. I don't always listen to the indicators. I should have exited when it told me to exit, but I'm still bullish on the market overall, and our bull market bias keeps falling to the downside. See how these white dots here that keep falling to the downside? Right now we're at 100,000. So it was at 109. Now we're at 100. Every week that level comes a little bit lower, and as soon as we cross these dots, we're really bullish. Every time we cross those dots, pretty much 9 times out of 10, we'll do a 60% move after crossing those dots. The last one didn't work out, but pretty much every other time it's crossed, it's resulted in a large move of some kind. So waiting for that. So this is my September. Just more of a repair of the trend more than anything for September. And then May is when it's like, holy shit, we're going. Optimism. It's time to go. Let's see what this thing can do. I'm new. Somehow found you from another channel. Don't remember who it was. Well, welcome in. If the Bitcoin dominance goes above 64%, 99% of the altcoins will be destroyed. Yep. I mean, they're already destroyed. What's a little bit more, right? That's why I haven't touched altcoins. I minted some ordinals, and I have small positions from the prior cycle, but I have not gone into altcoins. I've been very transparent with you guys. I've been saying, it's popcorn season. It's not altcoin season. You have these meme coin cycles, all of these hype cycles. It's all fake. And that has proven to be the case. It has proven so far that your best investment by 500% has been Bitcoin. Alts are down 90%. Bitcoin's up 500%. It's pretty clear that it's a Bitcoin dominated market. But as soon as that rotation happens, as soon as we clear this, as soon as this chart reverses, altcoin season will begin, and you will get 4 to 6 months of the most exciting times in crypto. I wish I could say that it's longer than that, but it's not. 4 to 6 months. That's what you get. And capitalize, because it will be insane. Just as it will be devastating for the alts for Bitcoin to reach 70% dominance, imagine going from 70 to 40. Insane. A 5% move up hurts. You're right. But a 30% move down, that's life-changing money. Life-changing money. There's a lot more altcoins now than in previous cycles, including stables. No way dominance goes above 70. I mean, that most alts will be at 0, literally. Most alts deserve to be at 0. Da Vinci. Listen, altcoins are a scam. Have fun with them. Understand, how this market works. Like, yes, there's 10 million coins, and 10 million, like 99.99% of those coins today were created with the thought of, hey, I'm going to launch a token because some moron's going to buy it and then I can sell it to them. They quite literally are a scam. Since pump.fund, that's when everything went crazy. Altcoins have no value. Like, you could point to maybe a handful. You could point to 10 that have deluded themselves. They've become delusional enough to think that they have value and to think that they have staying power and to think that they will be able to outperform and exist longer than Bitcoin. But everything else is blatantly a scam. Blatantly a scam. So yeah, they're going to go to fucking 0. They should have never had a value to begin with. The fact that they have a value is ridiculous. So yes, quite literally, most alts are going to go to 0. That's where they belong, 0, because they're not worth anything. So us getting up to 70, guys, if you don't think 70% dominance is possible, I don't know what I can say to convince you. I have no incentive to lie to you. I have no incentive to tell you, like, in fact, it hurts my brand. It hurts my channel when I say these things. It is counterproductive to everything that I'm trying to actually achieve here on YouTube, to educate and tell people what's right and what's wrong. 70% dominance is very possible. And at this point, with the way that this chart looks, it's not only possible, it's looking pretty darn likely, in my opinion. So don't be caught off guard thinking that 70% dominance is not possible. It's totally possible. Thoughts on GME? I think that GME is let's go over here. I think that GameStop I'm talking about top 100 coins. In the top 100, 99%, 99 of the top 100 are scams. Can you guess which one isn't? All right, I'm going to stop damaging my YouTube brand. Believe me, 70% dominance is more than likely. Yeah, GameStop, man. GameStop, I think, is going to cause, when altcoin season kicks off, I think there's going to be a portion of altcoin season that is going to exist on the US stock market. I think there is going to be a US stock market mania of, you know, shitty stocks, shitty meme stocks, equities, whatever you want to call them, that are just going to adopt Bitcoin onto the treasury, and boom, like there's going to be a little bull market that is going to be a part of the altcoin season that is going to just be around the Bitcoin narrative for Bitcoin denominated companies. GameStop has taken a position in Bitcoin. I don't know if they've made it public yet. Maybe they're still acquiring, but we're going to be coming up to reporting soon, and they're going to need to show earnings and balance sheet and whatnot, and that will confirm their holdings. Once it's confirmed that they hold Bitcoin, their stock price will move with the price of Bitcoin. And with my expectations of Bitcoin going into the phase 2 of the bull market, Bitcoin is going to rip really fucking hard. We're going to see some amazing prices in Bitcoin. And as a result of that, GameStop, MicroStrategy, all these Metaplanet, all these other stocks are going to see a little bull market. And then that's going to cause AMC to be like, hey, we're going to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And it's going to cause some other obscure stock to get in on the action because they can, you know, double their share value with a 5% allocation into Bitcoin. It's going to be a no-brainer for these CEOs because they're just not going to be able to help themselves. Greed in Wall Street is just so rampant. They will not be able to help themselves. They will make Bitcoin allocations. They won't give a shit about Bitcoin. Some of them are going to lose their keys. Some of them are going to lose access to their Bitcoin, which will fuel the bear market. It's going to be dope. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see all of these Wall Street pigs get screwed over by Bitcoin. It's going to be great, but there's going to be a beautiful, beautiful bull market while they, F around and find out. Usually people that do not understand why you should hold 99.999% Bitcoin, it's their first cycle and they just need to learn a hard lesson or two. 100%. Case in point, the Ethereum chart. Let's take a look at the Ethereum chart. This is what nobody thinks about, okay? And this is why altcoins will, if this is your first cycle, pay attention. Pay attention because Bitcoin is the most important measuring stick for you to use. It is the most important measuring stick for you to use. Ethereum's all-time high. People were asking me in the Discord the other day, do I think Ethereum's going to make a new all-time high? And I said, well, it already hasn't from last cycle. And people get taken aback by that. Like, what do you mean? It made all-time highs. Yeah, it did in dollar terms, but lost opportunity cost. Ethereum's all-time high was 6 million Satoshis in 2017. Okay. The last cycle, Ethereum's all-time high was 8.8 million Satoshis in 2021. Okay. So that means that this cycle, who's calling me? Hopefully that's going to leave me alone. That means that this cycle, we can expect Ethereum to do, let's say 4.4. So the bull market for Ethereum, and this is going to, I think this is my Emirates ID. I actually got to take this. I'm going to pause this. So give me 2 minutes. Sorry, I don't usually do this, but this is quite an important call. Let me just pause this for just a moment. So I'll just run the countdown again. Okay, he didn't answer. So I don't know. I might have to do that again. It's a pretty important FedEx that I'm expecting. So sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, so for this bull market on Ethereum, people are asking, when's Ethereum going to rally? It's going to rally. Like when we go into altcoin season, it's going to rally. But this is the bull market for Ethereum. That's it. It's going to go up to here, and then it's going to go down. And then after that, it'll go to 2 million sats. Now, that might equate to Ethereum USD. That might equate to a new all-time high. Let's say it gets up to 5,000-6,000. Like that will equate to a new all-time high on the dollar pair. But at that point, like, who cares? Who cares? You're missing out. You're missing out on Bitcoin. Like the whole point of buying an altcoin is for what? You're trying to make more money, right? The whole point that you are buying an altcoin is to make more money. Let's be real here. You're not buying it for the tech. You're buying it to make more money than Bitcoin. So if you're trying to make more money than Bitcoin, and the coin that you're choosing that you like doesn't do that anymore, you're just going to naturally go over to Bitcoin. And this is the same for every single alt. Like if we go to Litecoin, Litecoin BTC, it's never been lower. Like it did a flash crash back here in 2017, but it just goes down only, down only. Focus on the Bitcoin pair, because when you price your world in Bitcoin, your groceries get cheaper, your rent gets cheaper, everything about your life gets easier, and your altcoin investments reveal themselves as the piece of shit investments that they are. All investments, everything trades to zero against Bitcoin. Not even altcoins, like everything, the S&P, gold, everything trades to zero against Bitcoin. But, forget all that other stuff, because that stuff actually does have some value. Altcoins don't. So if you are going to trade an altcoin, just make sure that, it has to be outperforming Bitcoin. Do you think the government will find a way to actually buy Bitcoin for the strategic reserve this cycle? And maybe that'll be the next FOMO narrative. I think it's possible. All the gold at Fort Knox is valued at like $45 an ounce. So they have a lot of unrealized gains there. So they could reprice the gold at, say, whatever they want. They could reprice it at 500 an ounce and be very conservative. And now they've got all this money in a budget neutral way to go out and buy Bitcoin. It's totally possible. It's totally possible. I don't think it's the most likely thing out there, but it's definitely possible. Still down 60% of the original investment. How likely you think to get it all back by the end of this summer? If we're talking about Ethereum, whatever price movement Ethereum does to get up to, let's say, 5 million sats. We'll call it 5 million. Might get up to 5 million sats. So however much fiat the rally in Ethereum gives you to get up to 5 million sats. So do I think, like, guys, the bull market is coming. Altcoin season is coming. Let's not get too negative here. I'm not here to cause panic. I'm not here to freak people out. I'm just presenting the facts in a different way that you might not have thought of, because a lot of people come into this market and they're very fiat mindset. They're just fiat minded. And they only think in fiat. They measure everything in fiat. When you go to the grocery store, you think in fiat. When you think about your rent or your mortgage payment, it's in fiat. There's no fault of yours. But the reality is, when you reprice to this new measuring stick, this new ruler, this new method of measure called Bitcoin, you realize that things actually get easier and better. And a lot of investments need to be measured this way. So I don't, it's down 60%. I think it's going to do more than 100%. So yeah, it should be fine for you. ETH failed to make a new all-time high in USD this cycle, while BTC is well above its all-time high. This is not a new trend, everyone. Listen up. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will make a new all-time high, but not by much. I really don't think by much. And it'll end up being a bull trap for a lot of people. That's my prediction. It's baseless, but that's just how I think things will end up. All they have to do is revalue the gold for fair market value. I don't think that they would do that because we're at all-time highs. That's really irresponsible. They totally could. It's possible, but gold's overbought like everything else. So I don't know if they would reprice it to, I don't know, maybe they will. I don't know. I have no idea. But if they did, that's a bull market, man. If they use even just a single percentage of repricing to gold's modern day value, if they reprice to 3,200 an ounce and they put 0.5% of that into Bitcoin, we'll see you in $1 million. All right, let's take a look at Sol and Sonic. Ohm's done. We don't need to look at Ohm anymore, so let's move this over to Sonic. You guys know Ohm's done, right? Like, it's never coming back. Sonic's still range bound. I would be an interested individual down here at around 500 sats per Sonic. Man, Sonic's cheap. 500 sats per S. That's cheap. I'd be looking somewhere around here with a real value dip down there. And these are my top 2 picks, I think, for smart contract platforms. Smart contract platforms in an altcoin season, they just do well. Why? Because all of the degenerate gambling is happening on a chain, right? We just saw meme coin season. Where did meme coin season take place? It took place on Solana. So Solana was the beneficiary of degeneracy. The smart contract platforms are always going to be your safest bet. For this cycle, I think Solana is going to do very well. And it could easily get up to the all-time highs of in Bitcoin terms, maybe even a little bit higher. I'm not sure. It could be one of the few circumstances where an altcoin breaks an all-time high in Bitcoin terms, cycle to cycle. Certainly, it'll break it in fiat terms, but yeah, these are the 2 safe bets for me. Not Ethereum, not touching Ethereum. If you got Ethereum bags, don't worry. You know, I do think Ethereum will rally, but I'm not taking a position in Ethereum. It would the interest for me would be Solana and Sonic. What do you think will be the best way to store cash in after the bull market ends and we get into a bear? Just keep it in cash. Well, the best way, it depends where you're from. I'm going to run under the assumption that you're American. The best way, because you have insured deposits in America, would be to keep anything under $250,000 in your bank. There's downsides to that. Obviously, you can't get away with, not paying your taxes. You should pay your taxes. You should, make sure that you're reporting all of your capital gains. I'm not an advocate for doing anything outside of the law. Always go within the bounds of the law. But there are privacy and transparency issues with using a bank, but it's FDIC insured up to $250,000. If you want the best, that is the best. That's the best way. So holding cash in a bank is going to be your best bet. I don't anticipate the banks to implode anytime soon. I do expect there to be a little bit of a squeeze in the economy, but if you're keeping cash, you should keep cash in a bank. Or if you really want to get crazy, keep cash, like physical cash, in a safe somewhere, or a safety deposit box or something like that. Or do a little bit of both. A little bit of actual physical cash, maybe in a safety deposit box at the bank, whatever. And then just keep it digital if we're talking about keeping cash. Another thing would be to hold a stable coin. Now, stable coins do hold risk. We've seen stable coins depeg. We've seen funny business come out of the stablecoin market. Stablecoins could go through extra scrutiny and regulation. There's a lot of counterparty risk with holding a stablecoin. So, just know that that's an easy option out there, but that easy option comes with a lot of counterparty risk in a newly regulating market. It's not an unregulated market, but its regulatory clarity is not super clear, and it really depends on what country you're from. So, take into consideration how stable your banks are, how much you trust stable coins, and then how you want to store those stable coins. So yeah, it's kind of a loaded question. The safest thing is to just hold Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's not going anywhere, but that's not the financial answer that you're looking for. Another thing that you can do for the more advanced user would be to just hedge your stack. So, you could purchase a put option on Bitcoin for, let's say, 50% of your stack as a hedge. So you would purchase, a long-term put, maybe a year, 18-month put on 50% of your holdings. And that's effectively the same as selling half of your holdings, except you don't have to sell. You get to hold all of your Bitcoin in cold storage. Your Bitcoin just exists in cold storage. And you have purchased the put on that so that when it goes down, you are actually earning the difference. You're earning the difference in the price that it fell, the amount that it fell. You get a cash position on that in stables. Thoughts on real estate at the moment? Good idea to diversify into it at some point this year with interest rates getting lower. In my opinion, everything's overbought. Everything is overbought. Now, that doesn't mean that real estate's not a good investment. I just wouldn't leverage too high on it. If you make a bunch of money in crypto, the best thing that you can do, and not everybody has this opportunity, but if you can manage it, I would purchase real estate outright. Now, there's a lot of people that would totally disagree with that. But if you have the opportunity to purchase some real estate outright, you don't need to worry about interest rates. If you have the luxury of locking in a very low interest rate for, Americans have some really good mortgage options available to them out there. Like, for example, I'm from Canada. You get amortized every 5 years, so you need to renegotiate the rates every 5 years, and a lot can change in 5 years, whereas you can lock in to a 30-year mortgage. So if you have the opportunity to lock into a 30-year mortgage at a low rate, or at a rate that you're happy with and you see as a sustainable next 30 years, go for it. Totally go for it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But if you don't have that option, or if you're looking at a variable rate or a rate that is amortized every 5 years, then you might want to look at just buying it outright. So being Canadian, I kind of have that mindset that if I'm going to make a move into the real estate market, it's to have a place to live, and I want to own it. I want to actually own it outright. So, again, it goes down to where you're from and what you think makes sense for you. Did I answer what's going on with GME? It's going to go up. Bitcoin goes up, GME goes up. Basically going to follow this. It'll probably do a nice little cup and handle type situation. Go to some silly number. Although it doesn't have a lot of time to do that, in my opinion. We're already quite extended in this cycle. I think over the next coming years, you're going to want to build a cash position. Who's the smartest investor in the world? Warren Buffett. What's Warren Buffett doing? Stacking cash. He's not very good at timing. He's admitted this many times. And he's probably going to be cash heavy and look really stupid for a long time. I think we have further to go, and people are going to criticize his judgment because we are going to rally, I think, a considerable amount higher. But ultimately, he will be right. And he will be cash rich in a decline, when we're looking at a decline in global markets. Cash is king. Diversification is bullshit. Price prediction for XRP and SOL at the peak of this run. I don't do price predictions. But I could see XRP going up to 150,000 sats, somewhere around there. 150,000 sats per XRP. Cardano, I don't know. I was charting Cardano. I was looking at Cardano. It's quite a lagging asset. It's really not doing much. I think it's weak. I think XRP's a good one. As much as it pains me to say that, I fucking hate XRP. But I think it's one of the better choices for your like traditional cryptos out there. I think that one has some potential, especially if it breaks out. Right now, I'm bearish, as we've stated numerous times. XRP, BTC. Right? Below this line, we're bearish. Above this line, we're bullish. We're not above it, so we're bearish. But I think XRP above this line of 30,000 sats is bullish, and much more bullish than what I think for Cardano. So it could definitely rally a considerable amount. And then Solana, I also don't know. Price predictions are pretty pointless. They make for good YouTube, but like, here's the thing about price predictions. Let me talk about Bitcoin for just a moment. Shocker. Let me talk about Bitcoin. Here's the thing about price predictions. If you go too high, you discredit yourself. Now, I 100% can sit here and believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that a target range for Bitcoin between 800,000 and 1.2 million is possible this cycle. Right? Now you're sitting there being like, you're fucked. You're crazy. That's ridiculous. Now, that's only because we're below 100 grand. So if I make a price prediction video today saying Bitcoin to $1 million, I will be laughed at. Oh man, this guy's got good timing. Hello? Hi. Okay. Yeah, it's the Cove, building 1. Yeah. All right. That's probably the only time you'll ever see me do that. It's just a really important one that I'm waiting for. Yeah, so if I make a video today saying Bitcoin's going to $1 million, completely discredit myself. People are like, you're a lunatic. You are crazy. Now, if I make another video going saying that Bitcoin, here are all the reasons that Bitcoin can make it to $240,000 to $340,000 this cycle, I will get a lot of clicks. I might get a lot of hate and a lot of people being like, yeah, no, you're crazy. But that ratio of people that are calling me crazy is way less. Way less. Even though the reality is, this is fucking possible. This is absolutely within the realm of possibility. Absolutely within the realm of possibility. So I don't do it. I don't do price predictions because they don't do me any favors. I'm not going to do a price prediction on XRP. I'm not going to do a price prediction on Cardano. I'm not going to do a price prediction on Solana or Sonic because they don't matter. What matters more than anything is what's happening in the market. So we'll go back to this cycle, the prior cycle. When we were up here, we were in euphoria. The market was extremely excited. Everybody was making money. Everybody was flipping NFTs. It was craziness, pandemonium. You saw Twitter post after Twitter post of, hey, I just became a millionaire. Hey, I just bought this house. Hey, I just did this. Look at how great my life is. We were in peak euphoria. And then what happened was our wave, our bull market indicator went from green to red. So we exited because sentiment was too high and the technicals said, get out. The price is completely irrelevant. Don't focus on price because you're creating an anchoring bias. When you focus on price, like I think $1 million is possible. I will be out way before $1 million if the right parameters come in. So I'm not anchored to $1 million. I don't have an anchoring bias to $1 million. I think $1 million is possible, but I'm not anchored to it because I have technical things that I'm following that can remove my bias, remove my opinions, and remove all of that so that I am prepared. Sentiment is high. Technical indicator says sell. I'm out. What's the price? Oh, the price is 400. Okay, cool. I get out at 400. What's the price? Oh, the price is 800. Cool. I'm out. What's the price? It's at 120. Oh, okay. Well, it's not as high as I wanted to go, but I guess I'm out. So do not focus on price. Price predictions are very counterproductive to your success, and they only do one thing, and that's they make good YouTube content. That's it. That's all they're for. They're great for YouTube content. That is all they are good for. And one of these days, maybe I'll start just optimizing for YouTube content, but I have been doing YouTube for over 5 years now, and I've always maintained the brand that I'm going to do what I think is right. I'm going to do what I think is the correct approach, the correct information to be sharing. Doesn't work for the algos. It just doesn't. So if you can help me out by liking the video, like every one of the videos, I need all the help that I can get. And ideally sharing the content. Sharing really helps because the algorithm is not sharing it because the algorithm thinks that people don't like it. Because I say a lot of things that people don't want to hear. I say a lot of things that people don't like. I say a lot of things that people click dislike about. But if any of it resonates with you, and if you think that I deserve to reach more people, I do actually need your help to do that. But I digress. Yeah, don't focus on price predictions. They're great for YouTube, but they create an anchoring bias, and they're not good. Would love for it to go that high, but then wouldn't it break the diminishing returns in the previous cycle? Yes. I think diminishing returns is a bullshit narrative. I can't wait for diminishing returns to break. Diminishing returns makes no fucking sense. Dude, we're at less than 1% of global adoption of Bitcoin. We're at less than 1% of global adoption of Bitcoin. And you think we're at diminishing returns already? It's called an S-curve, my friend. An S-curve of adoption. We are going to break it. Here's the S-curve of adoption. You know, it slows down. You get a big impulse at the beginning. It slows down. That's where we are right now, diminishing returns. Then it accelerates, and then it slows down again. We have diminishing returns here. And we have diminishing returns here. Everybody is speaking as though we're here with 60% global adoption of cryptocurrency. Guys, we are nowhere near 60% global adoption of Bitcoin. We are here. Diminishing returns will break. I don't speak in too many absolutes on this channel. I try to be level-headed and I try to, be reasonable with my assumptions. Diminishing returns, that narrative will break. That narrative will break probably this cycle. If we had the same amount of liquidity from 2021 come into this cycle, we're at 400K. Last cycle, there was a lot of paper Bitcoin. I'm not saying that there isn't paper Bitcoin this cycle, but last cycle, it was a lot less regulated. When FTX went down, they had 0 Bitcoin. Zero. There was a lot of rehypothecation with Celsius and BlockFi. And there was a lot of Bitcoin, paper Bitcoin. If we had the same capital injection that we had then, today, we are over 400. But today we have ETFs, we have countries, we have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We have so many more sources of demand. We have ordinals. They're kind of doing their own thing right now, and their thing ain't that hot. But we have so much fucking demand for Bitcoin this cycle compared to last cycle. And I think we can do twice that. I think we can do twice the capital inflows. So if I'm saying that the same is 400, twice that's 800. 3 times 1.2 million. I know it seems crazy. And believe me, that's not my plan. My plan is not to, when we get to $1.2 million, I'm selling Bitcoin. That's not my plan. So let me be very clear. My plan is to follow my trade execution plan. And there will be price tags with those events when they take place in the market. Hey, Baloo, any comments on this news? 245% tariffs on China. Trade war, baby. When's the last time we had a trade war with China? Does everybody remember the last time we had a trade war with China? Can anybody in the class remember the last time we had a trade war with China? Oh, that's right. It was here. This is the last time we had a trade war with China. Man, it really fucking dumped the market, didn't it? It was a really tumultuous time for the markets when we last had a trade war with China. Cool. Great. I'm stoked. Make it 300. They're just going back and forth. Make it 500%, 600%. I don't care. Send it to the moon. China now faces up to 245% tariffs on imports to the United States as a result of retaliatory actions. Good. Do you think the Fed pivots on the next FOMC meeting on May 7th? They've already pivoted. They have stopped increasing rates. They started decreasing rates. They stalled and didn't do a rate cut or a rate increase in the last one. And I think they're going to continue to cut rates. They're not going to start official quantitative easing. I think that the powers that be are going to figure out a different, more sneaky way to do counter quantitative easing. But I'm not sure. It's possible. They could. But I think we need more of a crisis for them to start doing quantitative easing. What are the top signals you feel matter the most? Green wave flip. It's all that matters. I mean, it even mattered on this last one. When we flipped from green to red, I should have exited. In fact, I planned on exiting right here. We got it, and that was the day. This was the day of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, so I didn't exit. But the signal came in. It's a green wave flip, man. Get into the Discord. We give it away for free. You can buy in the Discord and get those updates for free, or you get the signal sent to the Discord telling you all of our macro move. It's automated. It's all sent automatically to the Discord. You get a notification on Discord saying, hey, the green wave just flipped from green to red. This is what it means. This is what you should consider. In fact, let me pull it up. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. It's right here. Red wave. We show you an example of what the red wave means, how long it lasts, how deep they retrace. We explain what the red wave, and it's all sent automatically. All of our signals are sent automatically to the Discord. Plus our, own analysis and our own trades, entries, you got the entry, stop loss, all that stuff. It's all there for free. Free doesn't mean instant access though. If you use the links below for the Discord, you will need verification steps because we're trying to keep scammers out. I hate scammers. I don't let scammers in. So there are hoops, but just know that it's 100% free. And if anybody ever DMs you asking you for money that looks like me, you know it's a scam because we don't charge for anything. There was no technical signals for the top last year's March. What are you talking about? Last year, we had the green wave flip twice. We got in and we got out. Last year, the green wave flipped here. We exit at 56. We got the green diamond. We got the bullish cross and we got the green wave flip back. We enter at 44. We exit again at 56. Again, we exited twice at 56 for the green wave flip. Even here, it gave us a little fake out, but you still made a little bit of money. Still, I mean, this was actually break even. And then it flipped to red and boom, bear market. You're out. You're not in the bear market. You didn't experience all of this pain. And then you bought at 20K again. Green wave, man, that's all you need. None of the pi cycle top indicators, none of that, just green wave. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. So, what are we looking for? I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback. I want a pullback retest of the top of the channel. Here, maybe we get a pullback to 82, maybe we get, maybe 82 even, maybe a wick down to 81, something like that. Maybe even as low as 81 even. But ultimately, I think this is going to resolve to the upside. I think this is ultimately a breakout. It is a low volume breakout, so a lot of people aren't convinced because it's a low volume breakout. But once we start ticking to the upside and once we start taking out some of these highs, I think the market will begin to become convinced. And once we're convinced, then we will be off to the races. I think this month will end anywhere between 85 to 90, and then next month will probably result in an all-time high. So April, nothing too exciting. May, lots of excitement, all-time high break. And then June, July, August will be mega bullish. All right, that's all the time I have for today. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to go to blackbox.pro. That is BLKBöX.pro. Get started. All we need is an email and password, and we will see you guys in the Discord. Until next time, please trade safe.